Well, he's good at that. He only medical for choices. Only everything is older than the grandfather. I'm not sure, I'm sure you don't know that is. Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
Pretty good. Good afternoon and welcome to the November 3rd, 2025 Public Services Committee. Before we get started, I would ask you all to silence your cell phone or communication devices. When making public comments, if you would identify yourself clearly, so we would have that for the record, we appreciate that. If you're online and you'd like to make a comment, please use the raised hand function. We'll help you make sure that the microphone's on so we can all hear. And let's see, no additional business will be discussed today. We only have one topic, and with that, let's read the first item. Thank you.
Number 10, ordinance third reading, amending sections 1.4.3, 1.4.4, 5.1.4, 5.7.10, and 5.8.2 of the Unified Development Code to define recreational vehicle parks and campgrounds, designate zone districts for their operation, create specific use standards for recreational vehicle parks, campgrounds, and revise manufactured home and parks regulations as necessary.
With that, if we could just have a brief staff report, and then I understand we have an amendment to consider. I think that's where most of the discussion will go today.
Chair Charles Bloom, Planning and Development Director, for your committee. So as mentioned at the meeting of the governing body last Monday, there is a proposed substitute that has been provided. That information is outlined in the memorandum that notes the changes that have occurred, and that substitute incorporates all of those changes.
Thank you. I need to go ahead and ask if there's any public comment on this item. Anyone in the room or anyone, can you raise hands, Jennifer? Here we go. I have a motion to name
I would move to adopt. Second.
you. And if we want to go ahead and discuss the proposed substitute, that would be great.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead. All right, please, let's do that.
I would move to amend. Second.
We have a motion to amend in a second. Charles, can you do that? Give us a description of what we're changing.
Chair, members of the committee, the proposed changes are detailed in the memorandum here. A couple of changes are very minor. These are all items that were either brought up at a later meeting that I had with City County Health or at the last Public Services Committee meeting. One of the modifications that's a result of the meeting with City County Health is on page 11, and that's a modification of the definition of self-contained unit. Essentially, the last portion of the sentence was stricken, which basically defines it as a recreational vehicle equipped with its own water supply, sanitary facilities, and wastewater containment, capable of independent habitation. The second amendment was a definition that was recommended by the city attorney. This was also as a result of some other discussions with City County Health. It is the definition of combined manufactured housing park. Essentially what this definition reflects is that the City County Health Department clearly has no responsibility for licensing manufactured housing parks. That authority actually ended over 2 decades ago. So that is not applicable, and that was a leftover in our code from the early 1980s. So that has been modified to clearly convey that that's not a responsibility, but it does note that City County Health does or had in the past and does presently license individual recreational vehicle spaces that are operating as essentially a campsite in some of those facilities. Page 26 has in addition regarding electrical connections. There's a discussion on whether they should be in the long term or throughout the entirety of the park. The proposed amendment that we've included requires it for all recreational vehicle spaces. The main reason for that is because of potential noise associated with generators. This requires that in addition to water and sewer service, they have a 30 and 50 amp electrical service connection at each space, which is common for the industry for the different types of units that would visit. Page 26 is a correction of the double negative. That was an item that was initially caught at the planning commission level and was, unfortunately, I included that in the draft ordinance, so it's been deleted. That is subsection 3B on 26. In addition, after discussions with City County Health, where we had the two individuals that were reading the ordinance, they asked for a little bit more clarification on what section was referring to, so we added that clarification of the subsection UDC 5.7.10 at the end. Page 27, that references a couple of updates based on the processes and procedures and licensing provisions of City County Health Department. And also it corrects antiquated language that was still in the city ordinance because it hadn't been modified to reflect changes in state statute that occurred a long time ago. So that deleted section 1. Also, we deleted the note about a manufactured housing park requiring a public hearing in this section. It does require a public hearing already because manufactured home parks are conditional use and all conditional uses have a public hearing. So that was duplicate language. The final correction is on page 29 under manufactured housing parks again. This is just an update to the title of the section to delete travel trailers and it would just refer to as recreational vehicles because per definition, a recreational vehicle includes a travel trailer. So it's just a cleanup. And also it deletes the licensing provisions by City County Health because those are no longer applicable. I'm open for any questions you have on this amendment.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Questions from the committee? Director? Questions? How about from the public? Do we have any public comment on proposed changes?
Don't see anyone.
We have a motion and a second to accept this. Any discussion from the floor? Discussion, hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Thank you, Councilor White. Go back to the main motion, discussion. Discussion. Hearing none, all
Mr. Chairman, is there any public comment on the main motion?
yes, we should take public comment. Anyone in the room or online?
Before.
I can,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mark Rennie, 2101 O'Neill. I think obviously I didn't comment on the amendment. I have no issues with it. I think it helps the ordinance. As some of you know, I have some issues with the RV parks in our community business areas. We've had several data centers constructed lately. I'm sure many of their people employed in the construction portion live out of RVs and they seem to be doing just fine. With our current facilities, this does allow us to expand those facilities somewhat, but I don't want to see them expanded into the CP area. I prefer not to see them along Ridge and College or along areas of Pershing or even on our downtown or along Del Rey. So I would wish that the committee would consider amending the conditional use permit for CB out of the ordinance. Thank you.
further discussion from the public. Discussion? Hearing none, back to the committee.
Chairman Seagrave,
Yes.
I would move to amend, the zoning, allowable areas to remove, CB community business, from the allowable zoned areas where, these, recreational vehicle parks would be allowed.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second discussion for the public.
Yes, sir. Chairman Seagrave, well, I understand that especially in large areas that attract tourists, that, I mean, I've personally spent time and stayed in one such, place that was located along a major thoroughfare in a, tourist, centric city. I don't believe that Cheyenne is probably, ready for that type of event. Or would be, where it would be conducive to that. So for that reason, at this time, I would like to see us remove CB community business. And if at some point we have somebody who approaches the city and, has a plan or would like to, have us consider that, we could consider it at that time, but that will allow it to, be taken into consideration individually.
Thank you for the discussion. Councilman White, any comments?
I do not have any comments at this time. I agree with my colleague from Ward 3, and I'll support the amendment.
Director Bloom, do you have any comments on this? Typically, it's just back to the committee at this point. It's a pretty major change.
And chair members of the committee, this is a real easy change to make. It is page 2 of attachment A. I just have to modify the use table to take out the C in the use table, so it'll be pretty quick and easy.
Thank you. Sure, we have a question, Director Bloom. Dr. Williams?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So is there a downside to doing this?
And chair members of the committee, I don't believe there's a downside. I do think you all adequately captured it. Dr. Aldridge mentioned that if we do have a proposal that comes forward in the future, we can revisit this. So I think that's a good way to look at this and approach it.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a motion to restrict the zoning on this CB. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of that motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So we have amended the original document. Further discussion? Discussion? All in favor of the original document as amended, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The recommendation for Monday night will be to. We have no further business. We are adjourned.